Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
If you haven't realized it yet, I walk in pretty big shoes. And if you walk beside me, you might even feel the earth give way. And in the summer's heat, you might have the audacity to ask me, excuse me, sir, can I please stand in your shadow for shade? And you know what? I let that all slide knowing that one day my cell phone will receive a transmission saying that you need help if you'll pay any type of commission because you need these muscles to help lift, move, or shift something. Now, I learned to accept the fact that I'll remain a certain size despite the numerous hours I spend in excruciating exercise, but what some of y'all have yet to realize is that within this large size beats the heart the circumference of Jupiter. Now, in past conversations with a dear friend of mine, we talked about the personalities of a big man. Oh, they're the sweetest people in the world, she says, but they're often clingy, always seeking attention. Well, damn. And in the moment I remain speechless, so in response, I hope this poem will make some kind of sense. What you are looking at now is a specimen that used to be 389 pounds and 76 inches, so I hope we're all in agreement that you are in the presence of a big man. And in the Bible, it says we're all equal under God's love, but truthfully, what about the love of the people around you? So in response to my dear friend, big men seek attention because we don't receive it. The big man has become the object of one. Anywhere I go, I get asked these questions. Excuse me, sir, what team do you play with? Or excuse me, sir, are you some type of bouncer? And what club do you work at so I could get in for free? Even on the television screen, the big man has become the object of entertainment, but what makes matters worse is that we're sometimes laughter's target. Big men need love too. And in this category, I guess we're purposely missed because when we try to approach the ladies, we're the quickest to get dismissed. Love has become the big man's addiction. And with every drop that so happens to miraculously find me, I cherish it with the greatest of appreciation because I know that love for a big man is in small supply. So when my dear friend said that big men are clingy, I feel we have the God-ordained right to be because love can appear and disappear so easily, and then it's back to where we begun, alone. The big man is known for his intimidation, for his great feats of strength and protection, but what people find so funny is how a man so strong can have a soul of affection, how a mountain so big can have a river of compassion flowing from the depths of his heart, feeding the thirsty of the lonely down below. And from this altitude, the big man has a better attitude, and the size of his heart gives him room enough to include each and every one of you. So please, if you find a big man trying hard to find love, please give that man a hug and let him know that big is most definitely beautiful. This is my voice, and with every syllable that comes forth from my soul, may I drop words that make earthquakes tremble. For within every verb, every noun, every adjective, I want the definition of me to speak clearly so those of you who sit in those seats can absolutely feel me. This is my voice, and like thumpers, they're not the same, just as extraordinary as my name, but mine is a signature to every piece I write, engraved with a spiritual penmanship that some of y'all might consider unrefined, but god damn it, it's mine, and with every breath that flows from the shell, may I give a testimony with the only weapon that no man can beat out of me, for my black ass was not meant to fit in a mold of conformity, rather to break every barrier that this world has set for me, because somebody said that being a black man was easy. This is my voice, and with every ounce of spirit in me, may my words boom with the symphonies of thunder, let call alarms go off as I set fire to his microphone, for poetry was not only meant to say, I love you, I want my world to revolve around you. Please, when I die, I want brothers and sisters who carry weapons of mass verbalizations loaded with the intelligence of the highest caliber. Fuck the roses and the tearful eulogies. When I go, I want to go into the great light happily, knowing that when people speak about me, they'll say, damn, Ty Black laid it down. This is my voice. Even in silence, you can hear my words posting through my mind. And when my thoughts finally appear on a piece of paper, you'll now have an immortal piece of me for all the world to see. Even in anger, if I do not have the words to say, I let my middle finger do the talking. And if actions speak louder than words, then let that trusty Excalibur transform into my boombox now. Set that bitch on full blast. This is my voice, my weapon of expression that channel of both compassion and damnation, and with just a push of the wrong button, this kind-hearted brother can become that bad motherfucker, able to curse the devil out with it a few rhymes, able to knock you out with a single verse so fast I could do it in reverse, because I'm a poet, a lover of this world's vocabulary, and within each sentence I hope to bring light to this world and end this travesty of unspoken misery, period. This is my voice. And by now, it should be getting a little hoarse. So my poem is reaching the end of its course. But before I let go of this microphone, understand that you shall not stand in the shadows of silence, but rather walk in the gloriousness of happiness when you finally decide to use your voice. For your life was not meant for you to just sit down and let time pass you by. And if you're doing it by choice, then excuse me for taking up 2 minutes of it. Because it only makes sense to me to open my mouth and let the world hear me, for this gift that God gave me is truly a wonderful blessing. And with it, I'm going to make a change by using the knowledge I gained and giving these unconscious messages life by simply using my voice. I am drowning in a river that weeps, lamenting silently while eternity sleeps. For every day I lose a little bit of my sanity, but it's every second that I lose a little bit of my mortality. You see, I am dead. I am dead, a lifeless, soulless creature that dwells in the shadows of darkness. For to be in the light of some darkness would be to save us some sweetness or some happiness. But I guess my destiny asks for something less. For if misery loves company, I must be a truly beloved guest. For every day my passion for life is truly put to the test. You see, my father, who was named after the prophet, with wisdom sprinkled with the sands of time, could not be here tonight, or any night, to listen to me rhyme. So it's with a saddened hand that I write this piece, that I gain some peace as I speak about my beloved deceased. 6 feet laid between us as I try to whisper to him with words sprinkled with the sands of time. Damn, I wish I had him back again. To hear the words only a father could say, to hear his wisdom like music enter my ear, to regain what's life is so suddenly taken, something so very dear. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, washed in his spirit, washed in his blood. To be in the front pew waiting for the casket to close, tears running down my face and snot drip down my nose. I don't care who sees. I don't care who sees. This is my father. This is the person who cared when nobody else cared to bother. This is a result from a visit from death, that Arctic angel that stolen and frozen his very last breath. And as I look under closed eyes, I see only a shell, because he's in paradise, leaving me in the earthly hell. I call for him. And I know I can't bring him back. And I know in the future that my sorrow and grief will surely build up in stacks. So sometimes I have to take a step back, because I can't do this. I can't do this. My father was not meant to go in. Sometimes I find myself on bended knee, crying, begging, pleading, please wake my father from his earthly sleep and return him to me with silence deep, but no response. No response, just the silence that brought my father to his deathly slumber. And now we're all here together to say farewell, father, brother, husband, friend. It was with love that you cared for a family. It's with love that you cared to the very end. I love you. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
Eating like a king in this empty castle. Purple beer in a purple shirt. But my queen is 1,000 miles away. Knee deep in treasure, I crunch on corn dogs and sip sour ale. Staring out the window at the cars passing by, wondering where the passengers are being taken. Fantasizing about destinations, places, and buttons being pushed. My beat-up sneakers stay on the corner, waiting to be walked. My crown is around here somewhere. Dishes for one dry on the towel. Well-used cast iron sits on the stove, aching to be loved like before. Twinkle lights blink year-round. The picture in the frame changes every 5 minutes. My children's smiles and a woman who doesn't smile at me anymore. In my fridge is a museum of half-filled water bottles. Every one a different drive dropping off my son at college. Just started adding new ones for my daughter. I can't bear to pour them out. Patiently, I wait for my queen's return, dreaming of her in royal garb. Pens and paper, scribbles and scrawls, love notes strewn across the table. I pace around composing poems. I hope somewhere out there is a talented poet with nothing wrong with them. No scars, but still spitting fire. I have trouble telling the difference between a microphone and a scalpel. I've got a rib spreader I like to use on stage. Perhaps you've seen my heart the last time I passed it around. My doctor says I'm out to pasture. Hard days done. I get to choose my path from here, so long as it isn't work, which I can't. My queen loves me anyhow. I bring a poem to a fist fight and get punched. But she takes me back, broken nose and all.
I wow the masses of sheep with a wraparound shovel pass, assisting psychic firemen, golden salamander blowtorching shantytown undergrads, smack around lovely hags, us faggots dance about poetry, cue electric guitars and pyrotechnic showers, dunk diamonds and jewels in bags of groceries. Hail of bullets through windows of the soul, discoteching globes, lit up strobes exposing stuttering wendigos for fiscal undersoles. Jab step into four hezzies, spook 'em with the crossover, shoot a contested three in your face. Infinite jest written on Bill's cockroach typewriter, invoke leaking double D's in my wake. King of three-body horror problems, order auctions, the foie gras is soiling green. This planet of the apes has no Statue of Liberty. America is a poison dream. But the toxins are so seductive. Lullaby lures us dancing in quicksand tar pit. Anatomy of a martyr. Apocalypse Botox with bottomless sulfuric armpits. Stinking of landfills and graveyards pinpointed at Caucasus mountains full of carcasses. Silent monolith humming not monotone. Audience of apparitions, canned laughter black marketed. Snarkiest Smurfette. Trojan horse cock and Gargamel. Pawn and bishop snapped the curse, world still fell down whole of Alice's cottontail. Where Black America is hidden like Amen, trace of traditions to a snake. Ampu Heru walls bend. Before, like Saul, St. Paul wipes his ass with Shroud of Turin. Clouds are verging to the apex, sneaking past fog machine access codes for a Dow I'm searching. Mount the serpent, part the curtain, slither through orchestra, symphony chamber. Black mystery labor to birth Christ, sophisticated felicity flamer. Infinity stapler spat off his teeth in the big boss above cubicle management. Musical anarchist choosing Schumann resonance, floating seashell funeral maximalists. Spend raw random time on polishing cadavers, rejecting mummification. Negroes were smarter, relying upon ancestral technological communication. Brandish sawed-off humpback whale, airing out the ocean under Frank spell. Beyond magnetic levitation 8 rails, salivating words out of oyster shells. Garnished with panache, my lavish kimono sparkles like Elton John. Put the coat on me like James Brown, smoking hot even after Superfly's smell is gone. Shellfish prawns deep in the bluegrass muck with giant rotifers. Made heaven holier, licking shots at pearly gates like Charles Whitman with vocoder words. Oleaginous smiles, grease axles with ochre slimy roses, noses in the cheese blocks, poetry spyware coated, enthralled by hypnosis, Piano wire scissors heads off at the neck with elbow grease neurosurgery, thermodynamically determined, guiding life hack skills through pure word diversity. Ramen and coffee are golden currency when locked up, three hots in a cot. 21 questions, nine shots. Stay in boxed, interlocked lion jaw bones with thoughts of a fox.
We drove to the red palm tree at least once a week. Pilgrimages to nowhere, to garish decorations of those with more money than taste, in the middle of suburban enclaves, made of dozens of variations of the same uninspired architecture, copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-pasted into a field that was once full of yield before it was eaten by suburban sprawl. A field that now grows only upper middle class ennui. Upper middle class ennui and, at one point in time, a 2-story tall red palm tree. No one knows who found it, or when, only where. Nights that had been spent driving aimlessly suddenly had purpose, spent in pilgrimage, parked on a street many tax brackets above our own, to confess our tender fears and nascent dreams in hushed voices under the glow of this tacky neon palm tree. We were all old enough to drive, mostly, but not drink. Not that that stopped us, though we never drove drunk. Mad commercials raised us well, so we drank and we drove, but not at the same time, though sometimes the same night. Intimate after parties in battered sedans, with confessions made sloppy through the haze of cheap tequila, seeking guidance in someone else's backyard kitsch, our Christ the Redeemer, our Notre Dame, our sanctuary in this chaotic world without center. It's gone now. The tree. I went back last year. The house still stands, utterly unremarkable, made more so by the missing electric foliage. Gone like it never existed. Gone like our friendships. Folded for the most part lovingly, packed into chests with mothballs and memories. I can't recall any specific conversation that I had in the halo of that tacky light pollution, but I recall all of them, all at once, all the same. Silent streets and earnest whispers and big feelings and small worries and neon palm trees, forever and endless, until a light would go on in the house and we would cackle and gun the engine as we drove away, our laughter drifting behind us, mingling with the exhaust fumes as they hung in the air. Certain that we would return. Certain that that tree would stand. Certain that this was not the last time that we would see it grow small in the rearview mirror. Until it was. And we didn't even know it at the time.
I was blessed by the allure of love's desires before being sanctified by an empress's vision. I mean, school days, beautiful senorita, eyes twinkling with the synergy of stars and moons, ravishingly elegant, petite, and demure. She smiled with the majesty of Da Vinci's Mona, walked with the grace of swans and eagles. She glowed too, a classy princess who knew her worth, even if too reticent to announce it boldly. Her name was constantly on my lips, by days on buses, at nights a bed of solace to cradle a passion that consumed me, of this royalty I knew at school, one that moved with the finesse of drifting snowflakes, walked with the poise of a Nubian goddess. I flirted, by days in school, by nights in reveries of twilight imaginings and passionate dreams. My delusions were real. I was filled with the frivolity of boyish charms, pushing me to unattainable heights. Was this to be the reality of screenshots I saw of Anthony and Cleopatra? Scrolls I read of the valiant Paris and the bewitching Helen of Troy, that magical face that launched 1,000 ships. Alas, my advances were parried by a cute and cautious royalty who retreated with gentleness and impunity. My next encounter with the princess was bewitching. She sang love songs to my heart and played arias in my soul. Her lute stirred a hunger inside me, the eloquence of her voice stabbing my soul with its sweetest notes. I was absorbed in the red flames of her love, transmitting oxygen to my blood vessels, transforming the dynamics of my breath. We frequented the same room in private and dined in bikinis and shorts along sandy beaches, coconut palms, and the delightful glow of aquamarine waters. One morning, post spending the night together, I leaned over and kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her soft rouged lips. Persuasion stabbed into emotions burning like a cauldron, fulfilling the affinity of flames coursing through my being. My heart's rhythms throbbed a thousand feelings, dying to communicate to an unruly mind the messages of love. Alas, although she acquiesced, merged with my energies of desire, I was short on courage that day and left her room sorrowfully for the next plane to London. My soul traveled 4,000 miles, revisiting that memorable morn.
Let me be the prayer somebody whispers for you when midnight presses pressure on your ribs, when mercy needs a mouth and my name answers. Let me learn love across the contours of your body, slow studies, sacred syllables, fingers writing fluently, tracing tender topography, mapping miracles in warm skin. Let me kiss your scars like scripture saved from fire, inkless verses living in flesh, each line lifting truth from ruins, each truth turning my touch tender. Let me hold you like we were prayed into existence, like dust knew destiny before breath blooms, like constellations conspire to curve our coordinates closer. I'll give you all of my tomorrows to soften your yesterdays, press balm to burning memories, swapping sunrises for your steady sleep, calling broken chapters back to kindness if that'll give you some peace. Heaven grows jealous of how deeply I love you. Clouds crowd close, copying devotion, angels angle low, learning my language while thunder studies how your name trembles through me until lightning learns longing because loving you feels older than language, feels louder than logic, feels holy without permission, palm to pulse, breath blessing breath, mouth meaning mercy and meaning hungers for you. I say love and mean inclusive. I say body and mean belonging. I say forever and mean this moment hums under my skin, breath breathes under my bones, burns slow in my blood and wraps itself in holy heat. So when stars stare and stay and saints sigh high, I hush heaven with hands, telling eternity envy looks ugly on angels, while the universe holds its breath, afraid to interrupt what prayer sounds like from a woman's lips who's in love.
I'm glad that you're all here. I've got something very important to tell you. Oboe rowboat potato salad sandwich. Tomato banana hamster in a cabbage. Big fellow rubella rabbi in a hand bike, firecracker, walrus tracker, chocolate covered espresso beans. You see, Schnickel Fritz penguin lips angry newts withhold their answer. Samurai pumpkin pie, are those monkeys in the sky? Edward Teach Rapid Peach, your dinner guests were not invited. Snaggletooth, supple sleuth, dangle kangaroo. Cheese doodle, standard poodle, crackers and a slow pitch, crocodile, domicile, mud huts by an old hutch. Wacky tobacco, where are the good lackeys? No one is inside my shoe. Submarine, guillotine, whatever will I do? You see, you have to understand. Bubblegum on my thumb, this is a pleasant Tuesday. Ukulele, private navy, skipping on a sidewalk, understanding, bumpy landing, being upside down, railroad, data node, information superhighway, donut hole, casserole, khaki slacks, and rubber sneakers, snicker snack, lumberjack, lightning in the pie, raven fingers, kinda lingers, where did my manners go? Velociraptor, car adapter, disestablishmentarianism. What I'm trying to say is broken rhino, green albino, you'll need to put the nozzle down. Studebaker, taffy maker, soft, like kitten's mittens. Public speaker, half-filled beaker, your answer's under there. Call me crazy, pluck my daisy, salt, this underwear. Dark matters, love scatters, hearts in dervish twirls. Music box, money talks, I have your husband in my pants. Leaf litter, death critter, bring your longships up the shore. Surfboard, marked and scored, falling sadly in the winds. This may come as a surprise, but aspirations, penetration, there's holes inside your cargo pants. Zombie brain goes jalapenos, discombobulation. Hovercraft, Howard Taft, the thick are taking over. Underscore, umbrella store. There's something in the stroller. Tonic water, toxic blotter. Whose ink is in this squid? Lily pad, Galahad. Who ate the katydid? Cicada killer, errant miller. No vorpal blade will help you now. The slivy toves have gone out grabe, and so returns the Jabberwock.
Out of a rotting slave ship crusted with barnacles and the stench of jailhouse piss, emerging over sick red clouds, releasing lavatory levers, shitting where self-doubt lives. Beloved is the white crayon that rules the world like the banana in a smoothie. Urious Five, Curious Jive, Dirtiest Knives, Prick Balloon, Shatter Standard of Lucy's Beauty. Old Divide Gorge, Washington. Nosy White Man, Priapic Proboscis, poking in the cotton field. Slalom wheels, swerving, windmilling, filling gasoline tank with malto mill. Aquatic gills worn like a bow tie as my journey swallows salamanders. Bubblegum hummingbird feather, cells beyond nonlinear imbalanced standards. Phallic cancer, toxic masquerade, macho men wallow backwards. Carve honeysuckle bliss out of mismatched burritos feeding Wonderland Alice Smashers. Rehired DEI overlords, Ministry of War overboard, solo horrors game the turtle does, breaking even in hotspots of the coldest wars. Bipolar spores travel nose to nose, tickle histamines, and provoke quantum sneeze. Wandering along the ocean floor, searching for the skeleton of pill popper sleaze. Wanton thieves smash glass and scoop the jewelry in a Whole Foods bag. Documented in the rap scroll, studio time, toe tags with a Pro Tools swag. King of psychopop, diathomitis touched by the slop. Frankenhooker, offer rocker, clumsy bullshitter in a china shop. Made vaginas walk across endless cornfields, touring America's roadside attractions. Queef barking at mad cows, supply and demand of lo-fi contraptions. Stole by Aladdin, I took Jasmine off her feet, delivered her to Mecca. She tore off her hijab and burnt it to ashes, reclaimed Afro schizophrenia, attacked Brenya, toppled Animatrix, long live Eon Flux forever, Wax Museum target practice, riddled John Wayne double with Desert Eagle feathers, pregnant male alien, chest burster, manifest murder of two heads of the snake, Ouroboros Henry David Thoreau with sea monkey eggs in a tank, sledgehammer slate snap, cue the editor, run the illegal colors through, Only warship white, while pale Trojan horse buzzers the bugaboos. Rugged crews and Doc Martens stomp through Afro cyberpunk spaces, get ejected by Pac-Man purple ghosts, trashing off flightless duck rages. Swine and smut pages lace the abstract phencyclidine for moon's fuck phases. Sprinkle maca powder on loose leaf tarot card magic sigils to keep aluminum pirate priapic. Triangulated mind states. Locate the trilocation figure in time spaces. Equinox locked, sun showers of abstract expressionist paintings coming alive. Government tribes call martial law, moose bumps running the jive. Mummy spun from a scribe's fake monopoly money, bumped off Parker Brothers. Guzzling a fish tank of formaldehyde aliens, derangement syndrome keeps a snarky structure. Cosmic lovers, Hiroshima shadow imprinted in random retinas. The last kaboom of the universe, up in smoke of the Grand Dragon's nebula.
For the job on Academy, I had to call in twice the week before to speak to the office manager. She was nice. We got business done, laughed about some things. I didn't step in the office till the next Monday. She was polite and confused. Thought I was in the wrong place because, quite honestly, Black folk were not seen that far up Academy Boulevard in those days. Like I say, she was polite but confused. Apologized, said she was waiting for the new receptionist, and when I said, I'm her, I'm Stacy, before she could stop herself, the words came flying. You can't be. I spoke to Stacy twice. She's. Now, sometimes I'll let that go. Sometimes we all let that go. Sometimes, if I'm feeling playful or evil or just inclined to make folks finish, well, defend the thought. But I'd had to get up early, fix my hair, put on pantyhose, switch buses 3 times, and still walk in looking cool, calm, and crease sharp enough to cut glass. I was not feeling generous. So I half smiled and let her swing. What I meant was, I spoke to Stacy twice, and I just expected. She finally gathered her wits, stopped sputtering, and said, You just look so young. You sounded so much older on the phone. I just gave her the rest of that half smile and went to work. She was nice enough, but the relief when I finished the week was dense enough to touch. There's home talk and how to speak in public. If you are Black or of color, you know what's being talked about. Because the world can be cruel, is judgmental. Parents, grandmas, aunties, all the elders bred, sometimes beat into you the way your mouth better hold syllables depending on where you were. With some folks, it was to show off. Some folks, it was meant for education. Some just loved the way high flown sounds in the mouth, in the ear, on the wind. But for all of us, Black or of color, it was protection. That is the essence of code switching. It's not about fitting in where you are, it's about saving time, saving embarrassment, saving your life. And like any skill, it is designed to save your soul or your skin a little bit. There have been whole chapters written, speeches given, studies done, but no one talks about how it hurts, how exhausting it is, how anger making. It's like any other chameleon exercise meant to make you safe enough to get to where you can be alone or safe or free. In San Francisco, healing up from a broken heart, the city decided to welcome me with an earthquake. It wasn't bad. I'd been jostled harder on the stairs during school day fire drills. Listening to the radio after the DJ asked to call in if it was your first time. Was cracking on all the out-of-towners freaking out over a few points on the Richter scale. I called in, laughed with him some, talked about how it made me kind of nervous to walk down the hill to the Italian bakery for a fudge cake, but how sometimes you overcome for the important things. He said, It's cool you reached out. We don't get many white folks calling the station. I said, I'm not. What made you think that? It got real quiet for a pretty long time. The radio went to commercial. He came back on the phone and said, I'm sorry, you just spoke. You sounded. I didn't say a word. Was kind of insulted my own folks didn't know me, kind of resigned to it, too. After a minute, he said, "Thanks again for calling in. What's your favorite song?" He played it when he went live again after the commercial. See, being double-tongued can work against you, too. I've been made fun of, threatened for not sounding black enough. Been told I'm trying to show off or act like I'm better. Get your nose out of the air, girl. You're no better than me. You better remember you're black. I never forget, believe me. I never forget how much those times left pain marks on my spirit, believe me, because you don't stop to analyze how they might feel. Indignant or inadequate or can't take what really shouldn't be a surprise. You just remember being laughed at or called out or told how you can't be black sounding like that, talking like that. You play between Scylla and Charybdis. You can be their version of down or heed the voice of your parents, your aunties, your elders on what your voice is supposed to do. Okay, last example. Courtroom hallway. I just finished testimony against Kelly. Some crazed chick had abandoned her baby for a crack house, then claimed kidnapping when we took Megan Chavon to her grandmother 3 states over. Grandmother's lawyer went on and on about my testimony, how it was flawless, guaranteed to make the judge rule Grandma Laura's way. He pumped my hand up and down, smiled deep in my eyes, and said, "Where did you go to school?" University of Northern California, Colorado. Why? Because I'm always telling the street kids I work with that if they just learned to speak properly, it would make such a difference. I stopped smiling, took my hand away. He was too busy congratulating himself to notice. I regretted not answering that for 30 years. I swallowed hard then. I'd shake his world to make him hurt now. I was polite then. I am not now. I should have told him, should have lashed him into silence with the truth that I learned to speak that way at home. University added a little disdain, not polish or vocabulary. My parents had me trained before I got anywhere near UNC's door. Aunties and elders and my parents taught me how to speak to save my life. Years before I got to be insulted by white boy lawyers who automatically translated black into ignorant. Years before I got teased by black choir mates for using phrases I learned in books instead of words from dozens on the playground. Do I code switch? Of course. You cannot be black or of color in this place and not do what it takes to fit in, save face, save your life. My parents and aunties and elders taught me how my mouth better hold syllables. The world taught me how to not expect anything but condescending praise or derision for being double-tongued. I pay the price in short-lived amusements, or victories that taste sweet for a minute, or pain that leaves scars on my spirit for a minute, or a few years, or my life. All I have ever really wanted was the right to sing my voice, my words into the wind, make them land like burning silk or heat seeking light to burn or bind wounds. All I'll ever want is to be called as she who sings as she is. Let it rest right there.
The closest thing I have had recently to a relationship is the man who sexually assaulted me and still sporadically yet reliably texts just to see how I'm doing. Always from a new number, since I've blocked the last 5. I used to get annoyed when people would give me advice about relationships. So many people, all of the people. And they would tell me to wait, that my time was coming, that love was just around the corner. I told them that I didn't believe them, scoffed sarcastically, but in my secret heart, so secret, I refused to even make eye contact with it. I drove their soothing cliches into the soil like prize cuttings, let them bloom, as if my barren heart was a greenhouse, and I would greet my great love with an armful of roses grown only from my own hopes. I don't know exactly when they stopped, but they did. They don't tell me to wait anymore. Now they tell me that I have a great life, that I should be proud of all that I've accomplished. They tell me how loved I am, that everyone loves me, that I am so lovable, but no one tells me anymore that my love is coming. No one tells me to wait. It's probably for the best. I've always had a black thumb, killed any plants who had the misfortune of coming home with me. That's something I have managed to not do with the men. A bouquet of roses is beyond me. I like to think that those cuttings never took. And if I don't look too closely at said super secret heart, I can believe the lie. Even as I feel rose petals sometimes brushing my aorta, and it becomes so hard to breathe. So instead, I have meaningless sex with a lot of gym bros. And I won't lie, it can be a lot of fun. I hide my disappointment behind the ladder of their admittedly impressive abs. But I never want more. And they only ever want more of the same, so it's predestined to be a losing game. I guess it's easier to take an L if you already know it's coming. I have been told enough times for it to be annoying by too many of these men that they thought I would be more self-conscious. Sometimes they say uncertain, sometimes they make it a compliment of sorts, tell me they didn't expect me to be so confident. I was puzzled by it the first few times. But I think I have a better handle on it now, for you see, and of course you may not be able to see because this is a poem, so I will just tell you that I am fat. Not curvaceous or plump or simply chubby. I'm fat. And yet despite that, I never reach a trembling hand to flick off the soft bedside lamp. I never hesitate to shed my clothes. Never use my hands to unsuccessfully shield myself from view. I don't choose positions based on what is flattering. Fun and functional fucking is enough for me. I'm not here to contort myself into a pinup while I do. And when it's over, I never hesitate to walk around naked. It's almost always at my house. Why would I feel weird about being naked in my own house? If it's not too salacious to share, I often am. I'm not cocky, just comfortable. Or at the very least, unashamed. I'm more surprised by their surprise. I mean, we met online in some version of a dehumanizing app where people swipe recreationally on photos of others as if window shopping for sexual partners is a normal way to spend an afternoon. And I am not naive. I know that as a woman who sleeps with strange men, that violence lurks in the shadows of every encounter. So I am very upfront about what I look like, what I want, what I don't want. It doesn't always stop them. They can be so persistent, moving from pesky to predatory in the blink of an eye. So just to make sure, I have photos in lingerie on my dating apps so that no one can claim that I tricked them. How do they see so much of me physically and still expect me to be, I don't know, dainty? Demure? Now, don't get me wrong, they're rarely disappointed. That's my role. Because sometimes, more often than I'm comfortable admitting, I have sex because I want to be held, touch-starved, and lonely, longing for that love that they used to promise me and now talk around. But you can't just ask anyone to hold you. So I make what I think is a fair trade. And I'm the one left surprised when they roll off me straight into their pants and out my front door, and I'm left alone. Confident, yes, but alone. Unsated. The last time I tried for more, well, I won't say she broke my heart, but she bruised it. Tossing it around so carelessly, I haven't wanted anyone since and wonder if I ever will again. I know, though, that in a month or two I will wake up to another text from a douchebag I have already blocked multiple times and daydream dark destinies where I die alone. It's okay, though. I do have wonderful friends, ones who have my back, ones who force me to define myself and don't let some fuckboy or lack thereof do it for me. So if love isn't coming, that's okay, I guess. I've become my own Heisenberg of sorts. So good luck, gentlemen. I guess I'm the fuckboy now.
Nations build networks to protect what they see as their own interests. Indeed, bridges and barriers play key roles in the history of politics and prejudices in society. The wealthy elite tends to feel insecure around those they steal from And so they build barriers hidden in rules, segregation, inequity, and injustice long before the plight of the indigenous people in the early 15th century. Prejudice is inherent in humans, and each race uses it due to the jealousy, greed, ego, and anxiety within. This shows in relationships, educational institutions, societal culture, and the hierarchical setup of the status quo. Bridges can mean togetherness that encourages growth, yet we build barriers against intrusions to protect us, which, like war, becomes a form of insecurity to avoid conflicts, to prevent immigrants from taking what we see as ours. Barriers are akin to the ego, creating division, exclusion, possession, and separation. In the realm of control, I give you candy and I demand your 15 cents. My barrier is based on expectations, which is a form of pain in disguise. Bridges are like the heart, whose very nature is to identify, to become one with, to lend a helping hand across the torrents of life. It says we and ours, while the ego says me and mine's. Bridging the divide is a constant challenge, relying on the progressive empathy of the soul. Tribes and clans are bridges, existing in institutions, heritage, sports, constitutional setups. They pull humans together, but become barriers when another clan is seen to be doing something different. In religion or politics, barriers protect the clan, but some overreach, leading to strife and disorder. Outer hurdles surface as dialogue breaks down, and the sword becomes the choice of problem solving, like a school bully, looking around to find a scapegoat for his problems. An effective Manhattan Bridge is crucial to getting goods and people across, while the seeds of power and war sow divisions which historically repeat themselves. We try to cross the divide with dialogue and diplomacy, treaties, red lines, revised constitutions, and international law. We engage in conflict resolutions, intercultural exchange, mediation, and even mindfulness to solve problems. Yet some love power and control, ego and greed. Alas, change must come from within to avoid catastrophe and promote freedom. The inner barricades limit us, so we must turn inward to build bridges of mercy through self-reflection and inner silence. As we grow, it becomes easier to see the challenges of climate change, a greater willingness to cooperate in changing communities and nation building. The microcosm is the macrocosm. An interior change encourages the flow of harmony. The walls are inside us, just as the bridge of love must be fostered within the heart's purity. Bridges and blockades are common to human life and take the necessary form according to the century and conditions in which we live. They hasten the evolution of the soul, the removal of shadows, and the emergence of the light to come.
To my future love who I wonder about, I want us to fit together like a pair of gloves as we stand in front of a pair of doves. While you wait ahead of me over yonder, our destiny awaits as I begin to ponder. I hope your timeline will intertwine with mine and we'll be just fine. When I begin to be enamored by your glamour, I will stammer when I see you. I will realize that I desire to be your knight in shining armor when you're finally in my sight. You will be the light to my fire that will become my muse as my heart takes flight into your possession. Our future will not exist until I insist on having you in it. Tell me that this is fate, so I won't fear that it's too late. Let's figure out a date at 7 or maybe 8. I hope that you will help me find peace instead of hate from within myself.
I know growth doesn't need an announcement, but I'm ecstatic to say that I built boundaries that I'm finally believing. In order to better my mental health this year, I had to choose myself. My life is now invite only. So you got to be authorized personnel in order to get to know me. I come up with restricted access. So if you're on that bullshit, you can exit stage left. And I swear, I wasn't always like this. I was the nicest, too proud to beg. Even with depression, felt like it was holding a gun to my head. I still hesitated whenever I needed help. I was a proud Mary. A part of me knew better, but I ain't do better. I ain't want to listen. I just laid my burdens down, took my brokenness and buried it, pretended it didn't exist. It was like my life inside of a Rubik's Cube, feeling boxed in with limited options, always shifting, trying various personality combinations just to make shit make sense. Never lived my life to the fullest. I was just existing. I was red with rage, so I drank to become numb, helping others over their hurdles with no intention of actually becoming one, self-martyrdom. I was at war with me, so I smoked green to become mellow. I got high when I wanted to disguise how low I felt, fake laughing to keep from cracking, holding back the tears in my eyes as I told little white lies whenever I was asked if I was all right. I wanted to be the beacon of hope. So I used my life as a bargaining chip. Since when did my mannerisms become makeshift? Since when did the lines get blurred between being helped and needing help to where I couldn't tell the difference? I want to be the example for everybody else when I should have been the example for myself. I dealt out kindness while killing myself. It was like the show How to Get Away with Murder, and I was Viola Davis. I ignored my own hell to be someone else's safe haven. See, back then, I guess I thought self-sacrifice was the cost of being strong. I wore makeup like a mask to cover up my scars. See, tragedy and silence had the same address. And I realized that I was God's property, so I had to restrict my access to protect my assets, which is my joy and my peace. Because, see, I gave everyone else my best. So when pain had a voice, it would sound like this, my enemy. I was my own worst enemy. I was the person that I protected less. I bent over backwards to help others when I wasn't at my best. I was neglecting myself all along. Then my higher self intervened, whispered a message in my ears to say you don't have to bleed in order to belong. And when life knocks you down, don't agonize, alchemize. Start reeling and realize that you have the power to make those manifestations materialize. And for every door that closes, another one opens. So while the rest of the world is green with envy, you tap into all that black girl magic and stay focused. Put yourself in the forefront without looking back. You've had your ups and downs that you left your old you in the past. You shifted gears, so wipe those tears. Don't get swallowed up by your blues. Know the difference between being helped and being used. So when hell comes in different hues, you make happiness amused. There's a complete contrast between being stuck and being still. This is your moment of transformation. So don't let other people's emotions dictate how you feel. Stop asking for permission to want to start living. Double down on your decisions. So when it comes to yourself, you have to be a bit more prudent. Keep in mind that before becoming any teacher, you first have to learn to be the student. Exercising your right for self-preservation doesn't make you thoughtless. And it's okay to lend a helping hand, just don't lose yourself in the process. Practice what you preach. Once you learn, then you teach. Don't be your own hypocrite and start taking your own advice and start abiding by that shit. When it comes to directions, before you lead, you got to get a feel for what it's like to follow. Practice that shadow work and shift that energy of that sorrow. And once you gain the clarity, then you'll be able to see a brighter tomorrow. Stop giving people a pass to drain your ass and play in your face. Protect your space. Stop volunteering to be the janitor to clean someone else's mess. Be careful of who you let in your circle. Your time and your energy should have restricted access. And remember, your presence is a gift, and your life is just as precious. So when all that's said and done, I'm no longer overextending at the cost of my own living. I was the perfect example of how to bury my feelings without the funeral. Yet I learned the language of loving me because I want to bear witness to who I'm becoming and embrace my new beginnings. So when push come to shove, I had to show myself some love. And a queen who knows her worth, yeah, that's the kind of woman that I could be proud of.
Chicago is an icebox that taught me patience the hard way, like waiting on shit that might not come and standing still while the cold eats at your knees. Miss CTA buses like broken promises, watching the taillights disappear while the apps wore 2 minutes. 2 minutes in Chicago means figure it out. Chicago, an icebox that raised me on cracked sidewalks and cold truth. Wind whipping down Western like it's got personal beef with your face, slapping loose flyers off poles. Teaching you early, keep your head down, keep moving, and keep your heart guarded. 63rd. 63rd almost took me out. A 24-year-old college student standing at a bus stop, hit by a car in a city that never slows down long enough to apologize. Concrete cold against my stomach while Chicago's asking its favorite questions. Bitch, you gonna get up or not? Halsted, where I got my culinary degree and it taught me how to walk with purpose. Doesn't matter if you broke, tired, or breaking, you better look like you know where you're going. Storefronts buzzing, bass thumping through bricks, somebody selling dreams next to somebody selling dinners. Now Cottage Grove, that's that survival with seasoning. That's history with soul breathing through boarded windows and beauty posted on corners that never got respect. That's aunties watching everything, and I mean everything from kids laughing too loud to sirens cutting through the night like punctuation marks. The Cottage Grove holds stories in every crack of the pavement, some sacred and some too heavy to say out loud. I'm gonna miss the food heavy. Maxwell wings, grease soaking through paper bags, Italian beef dripping down my wrist like Chicago saying, don't rush this. Pizza cut in the squares because round edges is too soft for us. I'ma miss the people most. My friends who fall asleep while waiting for you, sharing they last blunt with you while cracking jokes at the bus stop like laughter ain't another form of heat. Vibes heavy but real. I'ma miss eating with friends who understand hunger, not just in the stomach, but in the spirit. People who pass plates and not judgment, who don't ask for explanations, just say, you all well? All right, then eat. Laughter echoing down blocks that only makes the news when it's bleeding. I waited on the red line with my hands in my pockets, counting breath instead of time. Train delayed again, platform full of silence and side eyes. Everybody pretended they not tired of surviving the same damn day. While the cold metal bench is biting through my denim, boots soaked from yesterday's snow, salt eating away at everything, and I do mean everything from my shoes, hope, and my motherfucking patience. Open mics in basements, spazzing in living rooms, turned sanctuaries, poems born between space heaters and survival. See, between red line delays and all, Chicago built me in this frozen tundra, gave me a fire voice to withstand icicle blades meant to decapitate me, and I'm carrying that everywhere I go. I'm leaving this icebox, yeah, but I'm taking that 63rd Street grind, that Western grit, that hosted hunger, and that Cottage Grove soul with me. See, this city didn't warm me, it armed me with stories, scars, and a backbone built for colder truths and how to dream. Chicago, I'll miss you. I'll miss the way the way you made waiting a skill and how it made me tougher than comfort. I'll miss the way I miss winter, complaining out loud, but knowing damn well it made me who I am, an ice cold poet.
By the powers of naughtiness, I demand that this particular drop of food poetry to be really, really hot. Let me talk to you about the sex appeal that's barely contained within each chocolate donut stick. I mean, how come something that looks so unappealing tastes so orgasmic? These things look like semi-hard turds covered in jizz, but they are leagues better than their traditional ring counterpart. Their stiff and cakey texture feels so good when you bite through, as you feel the glaze melt on your tongue, giving your taste buds an unrivaled arousal that keeps you feeding for more. This is why they turn these things into munchkins, because they are the donut equivalents to munchies for a stoner. Wait a second. Munchkins. Munchies. Fascinating. It seems like the donut world is luring us to eat balls, sticks, and ringed holes early in life, which pretty much makes them the gateway foods that lead to go-gurt sucking, cucumber sex toys, and coconut oil lube. What can I say? It's a slippery slope. Keep that in mind the next time you indulge into that sexual chocolate cake stick glazed to money shot perfection. Keep that in mind as you savor every little bit of crumb and glazing while you can. It's not often that you can abandon your dietary temptations and allow yourself to run wild and thunderous like a stampede powered by lust and desire, chasing the edges of both your hunger and libido. Oh boy, if America runs on Duncan, America runs on a high sex drive. Stampedes of crazed adults trampling children, storming shells in the fashion of Allied forces storming Normandy Beach. Grown-ass adults investing their life savings into purchasing the rarest of their kind, only to lose almost all the value of their collection. A New Hampshire couple thought they hatched a dope idea by forging checks to purchase and sell them for a profit to purchase heroin. Now flooding hospital donation bins, Goodwill and Savers locations nationwide, in the closets of unfortunate heirs of a lost fortune. Beanie Babies were the Bitcoin of the 1990s. These little limp sacks of understuffed animals now face a more grim future, being the filling of beanbag chairs, as their owners have developed a fetish of sitting on the carcasses of their friends, mainly as a way to achieve a cheap dopamine rush by exacting revenge on their failed investments of hopes and dreams through imprisonment, utter dominance, and occasional gas torture by way of flatulence. In a movement as bizarre as the movements that birthed it, this kink is known by many different names depending on region. Beanie Baby chambering has taken the North American furry communities by storm in a similar fashion that Queenie Babying was popularized by the royal family. Beanie Baby Kinkaroo has shook Japan's kink world to its core, to the point that cyberpunk cinema is experiencing a renaissance. The ripples of influence even stretch out throughout India, as new positions were included in a revised edition of the Kama Sutra named after the most popular Beanie Babies, with Squealer the Pig voted #1 in Cosmopolitan India's list of hottest positions to do with your partner this summer. It doesn't matter what you call it. At the end of the day, it is a yum that will be yucked a lot more than toes getting sucked in an ever so evolving case study that is worth exploring, preferably from a distance.
You constantly doubt yourself, placing yourself in this box where corners close in, trapping your spirit in positions not to grow. You do more harm than good, dimming your light only to make everyone in the room blind. Now we're playing hide and seek with your potential. Instead of moving to something better, you're downshifting on a steep hill, stalling before it's reaching the top. Please stop. But you're not listening, persistent in relishing in this hateful self-talk, punishing yourself for doing nothing wrong, yet framing yourself the criminal. I wish you had it in you to see what I see. A soul full of endless possibilities. You're capable of doing anything, yet you continue to deny greatness like it's your worst enemy. When will you learn? Class has been out ages ago, but you haven't graduated with the proper prerequisites, so you keep repeating this step until it sinks in, but your sink is not sinking, constantly missing out on the calling meant for you to answer ages ago, denying those who follow you the testimony building up inside of you. Shame is not your story. Victory, glory, your mess is your message. And once you cling onto that, you'll see the reasons for everything being against you is only to make you stronger. That's your legacy. Choose to share it. Relish in knowing that you're here for a reason. Your existence is your purpose. You're important. And no matter the page you find yourself on, you are the main character. Opening your eyes and accepting against popular opinion, you are in the presence of greatness. This is me attempting to have an honest conversation. Forget the jokes and shenanigans. Do you, as a pedestrian, believe it's within your right to go out in the dark at night wearing everything but white, expecting to make it to the other side of the road? I have the dishonor of encountering a fool like you, crossing Panola Road over by the Quick Trip. Something in his mind must have slipped, thinking that I would stop in sympathy of him crossing a 4-lane highway while the light was green. And before those quick to lay judgment, yes, I did stop. Not before rolling down my window and throwing every profanity at him. He wasn't more than 21. Had his whole life in front of him. Didn't even look up from his phone to glance at the incident that would have possibly took place. This was his fault. Earbuds in his ear as the horns were blaring yards away from where he was crossing. I'm not going to hold you. I found it hard to stop. Nothing wrong mechanically, but emotionally, I was a raging bull seeing red. And if he were to meet his end at the front end of my vehicle, I would have shipped him reversed immediately just so the rear tires would get a taste of human flesh. That's only fair. If the Almighty called him home, he would have to answer under 2.5 tons of steel. Let's keep it real. There's a difference between a speeding bullet and a moving vehicle. A car you can avoid completely. But there are some out here willing to test the truth that a car reaching speeds of 50 miles per hour won't kill a person weighing at most 200 pounds. Round one, fight. No contest. TKO in the first round. Fatality as his figure is terminated. No Schwarzenegger, just a helicopter picking up the pedestrian. No, I'm not the predator for using my vehicle as a weapon. So my advice to anyone moving around these busy streets, please look both ways. The blessing isn't in me hitting the brakes. It's me not wishing to visit jail for vehicular manslaughter. Doing time. Having on my permanent record an idiot that thought testing fate was a sense of entertainment. The Lord can't hear you when you're in the morgue. Just a harsh truth when making poor life decisions. I have noticed that some exist only to test me. Tempt me to cross to the other side, bringing him out. That side of me that tends to get spicy, no doubt. A bad batch of cayenne, Carolina Reaper, and ghost pepper on a whole different level. Paranormal to those who are thinking it's funny to poke the bear. Shit ain't sweet. I'm no Teddy. Identifying me as Yogi will get you eviscerated like vengeance. I'm not present for your long walks in the park. I'm not here for your enjoyment. I'm the harbinger of your punishment, an eternity of listening to your worst bars over and over, speaking into a broken microphone, finding inspiration only to have your pen quit on you, paper laughing at you as you're poetically constipated, lines like diarrhea getting stopped up by writer's block, poetry like human centipede, but with you at the end of it with no way of getting it out. And despite all this, I really want to see you win. But you attempting to step on my name only diminishes the compassion. So let the volcano speak for a few seconds. You're... Get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Your shit is pop rockets compared to this Tomahawk missile, capable of leaving remnants of your being, evidence incinerated with but a swish of this pen, and I'm only 30 seconds in. Get your shit together or never find yourself again. 30-gallon Rubbermaid trash can and some gasoline, all your poetry burned beyond recognition. You forced my hand. Now suffer the consequences. But before we do, let us pray. Dear Lord, let this be the end of this. May my response be the justice necessary as I poetically slap some sense into your creation. May my hand move swift and strong, signifying without a shadow of a doubt, never fuck with the volcano.